Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited to share this pattern tutorial with you. It has been a labor of love over the past few weeks and I am just so excited to share it. It's not anything that I was able to find on the internet at all. It has been such a great opportunity to expand even my skills with the little ruffles in the bottom. A little bit of backstory. I had a very difficult time finding a pattern like this on the internet. My cousin had asked me what she wanted and I just couldn't find anything like it. So the Boho Belt is designed to go over a piece of clothing. Crochet on crochet, which is what this is, crochet sweater, crochet belt, not necessarily the vibe that we're going for. You can tie it in front, you can tie it in the back for a shorter tie. This is one of the things that we're going to be diving into at the very beginning. When I'm wearing it out, I don't usually double tie, I will single tie in the back. But here she is. A few notes before we jump in. While this pattern is mainly made to measure because every body is different, if you are making this as a gift, I do have standard sizes for small and extra small and medium large that you can follow. They're designed to have the tie either in the side or the back depending on the variability between the small and the medium. So you are more than welcome for a gift knit or even for yourself if you don't want to do the math to use one of those standard sizes. But for the optimal fit, we're going to walk through the right steps to find the right measurement. This pattern is aimed at a intermediate crocheter or an advanced beginner with a lot of patience, especially on this bottom part here. And there are some new techniques that you may not have encountered in these rows right here. That's what this video tutorial is for, to show you and introduce you to new techniques, so do not fret. If you are already an advanced or intermediate crocheter and you don't want to have to keep watching the video in order to make this project, this pattern is written and available on Ravelry and Etsy for purchase. That supports my channel and helps me keep providing you guys with some awesome patterns. All right, without further ado, let's jump in. So for a perfect fit, I'm going to ask you to grab your measuring tape and or a piece of scrap yarn for us to get started. All right, I have my tape measure right here. And if you have the written pattern and you're following along, which I have right here, we are on page 3, so how to measure and set up your project. I'm going to show you 2 ways you can do this, one with the tape measure and the other with a piece of scrap yarn if you're lazy. So we're going to take measurement A right now. So this measurement A is going to be essentially the entirety of the belt. So I'm just going to make sure that I'm actually measuring as close to the actual measurement that I want. So my sweater folds over the sweater would add too much bulkiness. So I am taking my measuring tape and I am going from front to back. That's how you get that beautiful front panel. And you're wrapping it around your back and bringing it forward. Now I don't have a big measuring tape, to be honest with you. I just narrowly make it around here where the 2 ends meet. So this would be a front tie. Now the reason why I mentioned the scrap yarn is because your scrap yarn will be longer than this. So if your measuring tape runs out like mine does at 60 inches, you would just take down the 60 inches here for the front tie. And then you would see how long you want the tie to be. So if it's here at the top of my legging and I want it to fall more or less down here, I'm going to add 7 inches and 1 extra inch for the actual tying. So that means that I'm going to have 60 inches going across and then 8 inches down on each end. So it's the 2 wraparound lengths plus 2 times the length of each tie. So for me, it would be 60 inches plus 2 times 8, 16. So 76 inches would be my total length of the ties. Yes, you're gonna chain a lot to reach this, but this is literally just put on a TV show for an episode and it'll be done before you know it. This is the only long part. The body that you'll actually be working on, not very long at all. We've done that math. I'm gonna show you how to do that with scrap yarn right now. So here I have a ball of scrap yarn. What I'm gonna do with it is I'm gonna measure out exactly how much I want. So just like we did with the measuring tape, I'm gonna go from front to back and crisscross it so it meets in front for the tie. Now this is longer than I actually want it to be, so I'm just gonna pull it from the other side closer to how long I want it to be. Right at the beginning of the thigh. Bring over where I want the tie to be, and I'm just going to cut it. This is the no math way to figure out the length that you want. I now have this piece of yarn, and if you're curious, boom, look at that. 60 plus 16, same size. I'm going to take and measure out half of it, and I'm just gonna make a little knot so I know where the halfway point is. Literally just a little knot. You're going to go ahead and measure one wraparound, and that is 30 inches for me. So I'm gonna write that down as measurement B. Now the next scrap yarn that we're gonna use is we're gonna do that same measurement that I showed with the measuring tape, like that, and I'm gonna cut it where it just makes one, like that. And just like with the first, I'm going to make a little knot at the midpoint. If you don't feel bad about marking your yarn, I would recommend taking a marker now that you have your two halves and using a highlighter and just marking where that halfway point is. So now in chapter 2, we're going to go over the materials that you need. So starting off with a 5mm hook, I have used both worsted and DK weight yarns for trying to get the pattern right. And I used the 5mm hook for both because I just enjoyed the feel of it. I love these clover ones with the grippies so that your hand doesn't hurt as much. It really helps with, for example, this sample I made was with Lion Brand 24/7 cotton, and I made just enough for my small/medium size with one skein. The hands do hurt because of how rigid the yarn is, so pace yourself if that's what you go with, but the end product looks beautiful. I also made the one for my cousin out of, this is all I have left of it, the Cascade Hampton, which is a size 3, and I also used the 5mm hook and it worked beautifully. If you go with the suggested yarns, you're going to need one of the 24/7 cottons, 100 grams for a worsted. For a small, you're gonna need 2 of them for the medium/large, and if you're gonna go with a Cascade Hampton, you are going to need 1. I'm going to be experimenting with this bamboo rayon, and hopefully it is neither terrible nor not enough because it's already starting to fray. We'll roll with the punches. So I have my yarn, I have my hook, and now I need stitch markers. I need at least 5 of them. I like these from Clover. Oops. 2 of these purple aside. Awesome. So I'm going to go and take those measurements that I had prior, or those pieces of string. I took a marker and I marked the halfway points of them. So if I did the math, why don't we start there? All right, our first step, now that we have our materials that we need, is we are going to take that longer length, so measurement A, and I am going to chain the length of measurement A. I'm going to make a slip knot. Now this is where I'm going to do a full disclosure for you guys that I am not going to be making a full length sample for this video. It would just take way too long, so I'm going to introduce the techniques and then do a smaller version. I'm going to keep going and I'll see you guys once you have chained the length of measurement A. All right, once you have chained that length, turn. Now for this technique, we are going to be working into the back bumps here. So we are going to half double crochet into this bump that is visibly raised in the back, as opposed to if we have the V's facing us in here. I'm gonna half double crochet all the way back. So into the bump and half double crochet. This is what's gonna create that nice sturdy belt tie that I like to call the rope in the written pattern. So you are going to half double crochet once into every stitch all the way back. I already regret the rayon. The step in and of itself is going to take a pretty long time, so feel free to grab a hot cup of tea, a cup of coffee, and put on your favorite comfort movie or TV show. For me, that would be Interstellar, or perhaps The Devil Wears Prada. Why is it worthwhile to do the extra effort to work into the back bumps? Well, I will show you as soon as I do my last stitch, and then I'm going to pull up a loop and cut like so, and just pull it through. So now I have fastened off. I will weave that in the ends in later. And your length will be longer than mine. This is just for demonstration purposes. So answering your question, why go through the effort? Because you have work of crochet that has V's on both sides. So it looks symmetrical, stitches are compact, so it's a nice little tie or rope. Now's the time where we're going to use measurements A and B. You can just use a tape measure, or you can use the 2 pieces of tape. So with the tape measure, I did the math. You are going to take measurement A, which if we remember for me was 2 wraparounds plus 2 times the tie length. So that was 60 plus 2 times 8, which is 76 inches. So we take measurement A and we are going to half it. This is my midpoint. We're also going to take my measurement B, which was 1 wraparound, which was 30 inches, and I'm going to half it. So it now becomes 15. I've essentially, in math terms, done exactly what I did here with the string. Again, this is an either or scenario here. You don't need to do both. But now, if I take this 38 minus the 15, I find the place where I have just the ties here and not the actual main belt. So now I subtract this half of measurement A, so 38, minus half of measurement B, which is 15, and I get 18 inches. So that represents the length from each end to the middle. So I need 18 inches of this chain on each end, and that's going to be my tie. So obviously this sample is a little too short, but I would essentially measure out the 18 or whatever your value for that is and place a stitch marker. So the end here, this is your tie, and from the stitch marker to the middle, that is where your belt is going to be. So if I show you on the real life one, here, from this point to the end is what we have just measured, which is the tie. And then if we keep going from right to left, we have the belt portion, and then we're going to place another stitch marker from 18 inches from the end, and that'll represent this part of the project. My tape measure, and measure whatever that measurement, the half of measurement A minus half of measurement B is from the end. I'm going to get another stitch marker and place that. So now I have 2 ends and a middle. Now if you are using the scrap yarn that we talked about earlier, okay, so you have this half of your tie because you've changed the length. So you're just going to take half of the chain, or what I refer to as the rope in the pattern. You're going to take half of that and you are going to lay it against the half that you have here. Again, my sample is too small, so it's smaller relative, but this will obviously be shorter than your real chain. So it'll be about, let's say, here, and then you would place your markers where it ends. I'm gonna make a little bit more room on my marker so that I can show you the full motifs. You'll be working between these 2 stitch markers for your body. And if you are following the standard measurements, you are going to place your marker 104 stitches for the extra small from each end. So for the large, you're going to place 107 stitches from the end and place your marker. And now we're going to work in between these 2. So we're looking at it flat. Here's the right, here's the left. I'm going to join my yarn here and work this way to start. I'm going to leave enough of a tail for me to weave in as I go. So I'm going to leave the marker on this stitch and I'm going to go into the one right next to it just so it's easier. So I placed the loop and I tightened it. Now I'm going to hold on to the tail end as I pull it up and through, and I'm going to chain 2. So I've just joined my yarn. Gonna give myself a little bit more rope here, and I'm going to double crochet in each stitch across until I reach my left hand stitch marker. So I am going to go back into that same stitch, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and then I'm going to keep going once into every stitch. I'm weaving this end in as I go by holding it right on top of the stitches that I'm going to work into. You can see it's inside. All right, I'm going to keep doing my double crochets all the way to the end. I'm finally reaching the ends of my double crochets, and as soon as we hit the one prior to the stitch marker, we are going to get ready to turn our work. So that was my last stitch right there. The next one has the marker. So I am going to chain 2 and turn. Now at this point, we know how long these ends are, and you are working with very long ends. So what I'm going to recommend is that you fold it up and put a stitch marker through it so that it's easier for you to turn this. On a actual sized project, you are going to see that these ties are enormous. So I'll take this one for example. I have it, but it's still bigger than what my screen will capture right now. So I'm going to fold it again here into a 4th and place a stitch marker through, hopefully, all of them, like so. So now this is much shorter, it's easier to turn. This last stitch marker is for if you need to take a break and put it on the stitch that you're working on. Now we are on to our second real row, or on the written pattern, it's row 2. So what we're gonna do is we're going to now work in a pattern to have it fan out a little bit. So we are going to work 9 double crochets, 1 in each stitch, and then we're gonna do an increase. So I just chained 2 and I turned. I'm going to yarn over and work a double crochet into that first stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and now we're going to work into the 10th, but now we're going to put 2 double crochets into this 10th stitch so that we have an increase. So this is my first double crochet and my second double crochet into that same stitch. Now we're going to keep going, working in that same pattern. So we're going to go 1 into the next one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and into the 10th we're going to do 2 double crochets into the same stitch. So here we're doing the first of the 2 And now the second of the two into the same stitch. We're going to start that whole 9 repeat. Again, you're going to continue working in this pattern until you reach the end. I'm reaching my end. I am on my 6th double crochet. 7 and 8 is my last one. So no matter how many I did, unless I just did a repeat into it, I'm going to 2 double crochets into the same stitch to end it. So now we're starting to see it fan out a little bit, which is great. That's what we want. Now row 3, we are going to do the repeat of single crochet, chain 2, skip 1, single crochet. So we're going to chain 1, turn, we're going to single crochet into that first spot. We're going to chain 2, but we're only going to skip 1. We're not going to skip 2. So skip 1, work into this one, single crochet, chain 2, skip 1, single crochet, chain 2, skip 1, single crochet. I'll show you again. Chain 2, we're skipping this one and we're going into the next stitch. Chain 1, 2, skip 1, work into this stitch. And we're gonna do that all the way down, and I will see you on the other end. All right, we're reaching the end. So I did my single crochet, I chained 2, I'm skipping this one, and I am lucky enough to be finishing right on the end of that round with a single crochet. If you did not, if you reached here, you have 2 stitches, so you would single crochet here and you only have 1 stitch, you would single crochet in that last stitch. But luckily, I don't have to. Here, ending with a single crochet. Now I am going to chain 2 and turn. These chain 2s are creating these spaces here. They're literally called chain 2 spaces. And we are going to start working into them. So we're going to do, first is a double crochet into that first stitch right here. There we go, we've got that double crochet. Now we are going to single crochet into this chain space right here. That double crochet is going to help pull up that space. Now we're going to chain 2 and single crochet into the next chain 2 space. So if I pull my yarn apart, we see big holes between the rows. So I'm going to chain 2 and I'm going to single crochet again, not into the single crochet, but into that chain 2 space right here. Chain 2, single crochet into the chain 2 space. And we're going to do that all the way to the other end. I am now reaching the end of this row, and so I am going to continue. So I just did a single crochet into a chain 2 space. I'm going to find the other chain 2 space, do a single crochet right into the next one, chain 2. I've got 1 more chain 2 space right here, but there's an extra stitch left over right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to single crochet into this last stitch, chain 2, and turn. Now this is a point of divergence. If you would like to have the same exact length, 4.5 inches, of the sample, you are going to move on to the next round or the next row with me. If you want to have this exact 4.5 inches, which is basically the length of my fingers here, you can continue on to the next round with me. If you would like to make it longer, you will do 1 more row that we have just done. of double crochet into your first stitch, and then you do single crochet chain twos into the chain two spaces. This is an optional step. We are not going to do that. So we have chain two and we have turned. We are moving on to row 5 of the written pattern. So we are going to double crochet into this first stitch right here. We are going to, here we have a single crochet here, so I'm just going to chain 1. If you are immediately next to that chain 1 space, go ahead and work into it. But I'm going to single crochet now into that chain 1 space, and I am going to chain 1 instead of chaining 2. So single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, chain 1. And we're going to do this in one of a broader pattern. So we are going to do 4 of these single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, chain 1s. And on the 5th one, we're going to have 2 single crochets in the same chain 2 space. So I have done 1, 2, 3, 4 single crochets into a chain 1 space. And now I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to, into the 5th, do 2 single crochets. So that's my first single crochet, and this is my second single crochet. Now we have an increase. I'm going to chain 1 and single crochet into the next one, 2, 3, 4, and now into the 5th I'm going to do 2 single crochets. I'll do that with you one more time. So chain 1, 1 chain 1 space, chain 2 space, 2 chain 2 spaces, 3 chain 2 spaces, 4 chain 1, and I'm going to do 2 single crochets into this one. 1 and 2. I'm going to keep going for the rest of the length, and I will see you guys in a bit. I am at the end, and I have a little bit of a funk going on. So I have a single crochet here, and then I have that chain 2 that we did earlier. So I'm going to chain 1 after this last single crochet. So that's going to cover this single crochet right here. And I'm just going to single crochet into that loop right there. Awesome. Chain 2, turn. This is already quite pretty. Now things are going to get a little bit more complicated. We are going to work 2 double crochets into the first stitch, and then we're going to do the repeat of a double crochet, chain 1, with the exception of where we have 2 single crochets worked into the same stitch, like right here. We are going to do 2 single crochets right next to each other and not do a chain 1 in that spot. So here we're going to do that double crochet into the first stitch. Now we have 2 single crochets worked into the same stitch. I am going to double crochet once into each of these single crochets. I'm going to chain 1, and I am going to single crochet into this one, chain 1, or double crochet into the next, single crochet, chain 1, into the next single crochet, chain 1, the next one, chain 1, and it's forming these beautiful holes. Now again, I have 2 single crochets next to each other. I'm going to double crochet, no chain 1, go straight into the next double crochet. And so the motif that is created is you have a bunch of larger holes that are delineated by 2 double crochets right next to each other. So I'm going to do that again. I'm going to chain 1, and double crochet into the next, single crochet, chain 1 into the next, single crochet right here, chain 1, the next single crochet right here, chain 1, the next single crochet, chain 1, the next single crochet, and now I have another single crochet right there, so I'm going to do another double crochet. I love rayon, chain 1. And I'm going to keep going until the end. I've now reached the end, so I'm doing one of my last double crochets, chain 1, and now I have one last stitch here that I am going to double crochet into twice. 1 and 2. Now I am going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and turn my work. If you want to double check that you did that right, you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you should have 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. You should have 2 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4. You should have 2 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then another 2 stitches. We chained 3. We are going to treble crochet twice into the first stitch. So I chained 1. I'm going to skip 1 stitch and go into the next stitch, and we're just going to keep going all the way across. So chain 1, we're going to skip this one, we're going to go into the next stitch for a treble crochet. We're going to do that one more time. Chain 1, treble crochet, chain 1, treble crochet, chain 1, treble crochet. Now what you're going to notice is where we have the 2 double crochets next to each other on the previous row right here, we're now going to switch from working into the double crochets to working into the spaces. So chain 1, you're always going to alternate. Every time you see one of those doubles, you're just going to switch. And you do that by just continuing to skip 1 stitch every time. So we're going to skip 1 and go into that space, chain 1, treble crochet again into the space, chain 1, treble crochet again into the space, and now we've got the 2 double crochets next to each other, so I'm going to skip the first one and work into the next one, literally just skipping 1 stitch as I have been for the entire row so far. And I'm just going to keep going for the rest of the row. I will see you in a little bit. We are almost at the end. Just repeating that treble crochet, chain 1, treble crochet, chain 1. And instead of chaining 1, I'm just going to go straight into this last stitch. And go into that last stitch again. There we go. And now I am going to chain 1 and turn. Now we're going to be setting up the foundation for our little scallops. So we got to pay attention to this motif because it's going to be a little longer for the setup. We chained 1, we turned, And now we're going to do this repeat of single crochet, chain 2, skip 2, a single crochet, single crochet, chain 2, skip 2, single crochet, single crochet. So I'm going to repeat that again, but I'll show you first. We have now this loop here and this loop here. Loop of chain 2s, and we have another loop here of chain 2s. That chain 2 is very, very skinny. You can see here that tension is important, and that tension was a little too tight, so it was too difficult to get that out. So we're going to repeat the motif. We already did the two single crochets. Now we're going to chain 2, skip 2, single crochet, into that third, chain 2, skip 2, single crochet, and single crochet. Now our tension's a little bit better, so we have these loops showing up a little bit better. So we'll try that again. We have 2 single crochets, so we're going to chain 2, keeping it nice and loose, skip 2, single crochet once, chain 2, skip 2, 2 single crochets. Let's do that again. Chain 2, skip 2, single crochet, chain 2, skip 2, single crochet, single crochet, chain 2, skip 2, 1 single crochet, chain 2, skip 2, 2 single crochets, chain 2, skip 2, 1 single crochet, chain 2, skip 2, 2 single crochets, excuse me. Let's try that again. Chain 2, skip 2, 1 single crochet, chain 2, skip 2, 2 single crochets, 1 and turn. Now here we have an important moment. We have 2 loops that we need to be able to identify. The separator between the fan motifs that we're going to work on are these 2 single crochets. So if the 2 loops are separated by 1 single crochet, these 2 holes are going to be part of a single motif. If they're separated by 2 single crochets like this, they're not. In the pattern that's written, the first loop after a 2 single crochet is loop A, and the second one is loop B. This is very important because you're going to treat them very differently. So we just did the 2 chains after the turn, and I'm going to teach you the fan motif. So we have 2 single crochets here, which is how we ended. So this one is going to be a tiny scallop because here we have the 2 single crochets and then we have the single crochet. So this is going to be our first full fan. We only have 1 here. So we're going to be a little bit creative on this 1 fan that we have. Double crochet here and double crochet here. And now we're going to start the fan motif into this only one. This is not how the fan motif actually goes. We're doing a mini half here for the sake of this leftover half because this is made to measure and it's not always going to work perfectly. So I did a double crochet. I'm going to chain 1. I'm going to do a half double crochet. Chain 1
And then we're going to go into the 2 single crochets with single crochet, single crochet, single crochet. And that's a little scallop right there. Now we're going to go into the real motif, which is chain 1, double crochet into loop A, chain 1, treble crochet again into loop A, now we're going to move into loop B, but we're not going to chain 1. We're going straight into loop B with the treble crochet, chain 1, double crochet, and we're going to go straight into a half double crochet. And then we're going to do 2 single crochets into the next 2 single crochets. I'm just going to pull up that loop so I don't lose it. And you can see here, we have that half scallop here, and we have a full fan or scallop right here. Our 2 single crochets, our chain 1, double crochet, treble crochet, treble crochet, double crochet, half double crochet, single crochet, single crochet. And so we're going to keep doing that across. So into, we're going to chain 1, and into the first space we're going to do again double crochet into loop A, chain 1, treble crochet, treble crochet into B, chain 1, double crochet, half double crochet. If your fan isn't looking so good, you can just push it over to the middle so the 2 treble crochets are closer. And then you do the single crochet and the single crochet here. We're going to do that again. So we chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, treble crochet, treble crochet into B, chain 1, double crochet, half double crochet, single crochet, single crochet, and we've done another little fan, and you're going to end with a single crochet, just like that. You will probably have more of these to do, obviously, than I do, but if you end in the middle of one, we've tackled that here on this end, and if you end up being lucky and having a full fan at the end, power to you. We are almost done with our boho belt. We have 1 more row left. Chain 1 and turn your work, and this is our last row. Here into that single crochet, we are going to single crochet, and we're going to chain 2. Now this, we need to pay attention because it's not in every other thing. Every time there is an actual stitch, not a chain, we are going to do a double crochet. So we're going to do a double crochet into this one, this one, this one, this one, and then these are single crochets. So we're going to deal with those a different way. I chained 2. I am ignoring this stitch right here, and I'm going straight into this double crochet, and I'm going to double crochet into that. Chain 1, I am now going to double crochet into this one, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. I'm going to chain 1 and then single crochet into the 2 single crochets down here. Chain 2, yarn over, double crochet into this one, chain 1, double crochet into this one, chain 1, double crochet here, chain 1. We have 1 more stitch here, so we're going to double crochet, chain 1, and then single crochet and single crochet. So now, instead of having the scallops be pointy, they are more rounded out now with this last row of double crochets. I will do it with you one more time. So we are going to chain 1, and we are going to double crochet here, chain 1, double crochet into that treble crochet, chain 1, double crochet into the next treble crochet, chain 1, double crochet into that double crochet, chain 1, and we're going to single crochet into these 2 single crochets, 1 and 2. I'm going to point out the stitches to you one last time, and then I will meet you at the end. So this double crochet, you're going to do a double crochet into. You're going to do a double crochet into this treble crochet, this treble crochet, this double crochet, and then you're going to do your 2 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4 double crochets with 1 chain 1 here and 1 chain 1 here. So it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, chain 1, single crochet, single crochet. I will see you soon. We are at the end and we're at this half. So if you also have a half instead of a full, you're going to chain 1, you're going to double crochet into each of the stitches, just as we do in the other one. So double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, and you're going to double crochet into that last stitch. Double crochet, you're going to single crochet just for you to be able to fasten off. Take your scissors and snip. Now, after weaving in the ends, you will have finished your boho belt. Congratulations! You have finished your beautiful boho belt. Congratulations on finishing your boho belt. I am so excited to see you wearing your new crochet belt out in the world. Please, if you post on Instagram, tag me. I would love to see it. Hashtag boho belt. And also, please, 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 if you made this project, it would mean a lot to me if you could go into Ravelry and add it as a project on Ravelry so that I could see it, but also it helps build the body of work. It helps contribute your thoughts, your yarn choices, any modifications you made to help the greater knitting and crochet ecosystem. So please, please, please add it to Ravelry. Even if you don't buy the pattern on Ravelry, add the project to Ravelry if you did it off of this video. If you made it to this point, please subscribe to my channel, give it a thumbs up if you found this helpful. It takes a lot of time. It takes weeks actually to develop a crochet pattern like this. It takes me at least a week to film and edit a video like this, so it would really, really help me if you liked and enjoyed the process of making and wearing your belt. It would really mean a lot if you could share it, like, subscribe, all the good things, and also check me out on Instagram. I think that's everything. Thank you so much for your help. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments, and I will see you guys in the next, I don't know what that was. I'll see you guys in the next video.